and just going up to the person and just going, you know this thing that you do, I'd rather you didn't do it. And most of the time you do it, they'll probably stab you, because that's what London or Cardiff is like. I've been to Cardiff, it's a fucking shithole, mate. It is the literal worst thing that you can do, apart from getting your cock out and waving it about. She says he's changed, and it's just content. Am I allowed to object at the wedding? She's going to resent you forever. Hello and welcome to Francis Foster Sorts Your Life Out, the show where I will indeed sort your life out. No problem is too big, too small. Whatever the problem is, bring it to Uncle Francis. Sounds creepy. And I'll sort it. I'll sort it. Any problem, doesn't matter, no matter how big, small, insignificant, world-beating. I don't even know if that's the correct way to use that term. I will be here and I will sort it out for you, you mingy little slags. So, with no further ado, I hope you've had a good week. If you haven't, get a cup of tea on, have a sit down. Maybe you're going for a run or a jog. Maybe you're there like doing weights. Maybe you're injecting steroids in an effort to cover up a childhood where you were abused and bullied because you were maybe small, fat, or had some kind of effeminate tendencies. Or maybe even that you saw the world in a particular way, and as a society and indeed as a species, we've always rewarded groupthink, and you were that person who was like, no, I see the world differently, and you got beaten. But anyway, that's enough about my childhood. Sit down, relax. We're going to have an incredible time. It's going to be fantastic. Dare I say it, it's going to be the best. So, with no further ado, Jackie, we're going to crack on. We're going to have our first query or a problem. It's not a query, it's a problem. Because that's what we do, is sort your life out. We sort your life out, God bless you. Dear Francis, my elderly mum is convinced the Deliveroo drivers are casing our house for burglary. She won't let me order anything to her address. She's not racist, she's just deeply suspicious of motorbikes. How do I reassure her without sounding patronising? Now, this is the thing about getting old, right? Genuinely, and not enough people talk about this. But a large part, right, I remember, right, I was in the comedy mothership in Austin, and I was talking to a comedian. He was a black fella, and I was talking to him, because that's why I am, mate. I'm not racist. One of the good guys. I was talking, of course, meeting of minds, connecting. Anyway, we were having a conversation, and he was talking, he was doing a routine. It was very funny about the older you get, the more racist you are. Not the most groundbreaking of observations, but he made it funny. That's the most important thing. And we were talking about it, and I was like, do you know what I think it is? I think it's actually to do with vulnerability. Because the more vulnerable that you are physically or mentally, the more you see threat in everything. Because you're less able to defend yourself. If, for instance, you have the magnificent sculpted physique like I do, and you are a tiger, not only on the streets, but also in the bedroom, a sexual panther is what I call myself, then it's going to be less of an issue, because people don't fuck with you because they know that they're dealing with an alpha. You walk in, you are the proverbial silverback, the eagle in flight, there, hovering. I'm starting. You get my point. Anyway, so it's not going to be an issue, is it? And why would it be an issue? Because you are the king of the jungle. Doesn't make sense for a lion to be king of the jungle. It doesn't have enough jungle. I know, it's true. I reckon a tiger could beat a lion in a fight. Just my opinion. But if you live in that world of fear, and because you know that you're physically vulnerable, which your mother clearly is, and she realises that not only she is a woman, so therefore she's going to be less strong physically than a male on average. So she realises she's vulnerable, plus the fact that she's elderly, plus the fact that there's probably a degree of mental vulnerability happening at that moment as well, all in one particular package. That is going to make her more worried, more cautious, even, shall I say, a little bit more paranoid, which is what is happening here. Now, she is there because she's very worried, and she's concerned that actually what's going to happen is that people are going to break in. She's not going to be able to protect herself or her property or her possessions, and people are going to be able to take her stuff, her valuable possessions, without her being able to do much about it. What you need to do, mate, right, is you need to reassure your mum. You need to reassure you need to go, Mother, There is nothing for you to worry about. There's nothing for you to worry about. Don't worry about it. We're gonna get you they're not gonna want to mug you. All they're gonna do is deliver to you the finest. Well, it depends where you order from, actually. Takeaway that money can buy. Oh, do you know what? I'm trying to look. I'm so fat at the moment. It's actually depressing how fat I am. I take my top off and I look like an inverse, upside down light bulb. It's got the bit there and it's got that, like, it's just there, like the fat with the handles. I almost look like I've got hips. I look, you know what I'm starting to look trans. That's what I'm starting to look like. My whole body is changing in front of my eyes. No, I didn't consent to this, mate. I ain't consent. It's just going. I'm getting the tits. It's the fat is happening. I am becoming part of the LGBTQIA plus minority or community or whatever you want to call it. And no one's asked me. No one has said to me, Francis, do you want this to happen? But every day I look in the mirror and I'm ending up looking more and more like a lesbian. I'm looking like a burnt out, knackered Sue Perkins. And I've got to be honest with you, at the moment, Sue, even though she's probably pushing 60 now, she looks in better shape than me. It's terrible. You know when old people moan about aging and they're just like, oh, it's so hard being old. And as you're a kid, you're like, yeah, fuck off, granddad. What's the matter with you? Look at me. I'm in the prime of youth. I can sprint up and down the road 16 times, bed 2 women at the same time, eat a packet of pork scratchings, not put on a pound, and I am golden to go. I can go out, I can get smashed the next day, and I'll wake up, feel fine, go to the gym, do 12 hours work. Bosh, what's the matter with you? In the full bloom of youth. Mate, my bloom is dead. All the petals are on the floor. They're all shriveled up and dried. They're all comprised now of dust. And and so I feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for your mother. I sympathise. Not empathise. I sympathise. I sympathise with her. The world is a strange, unpleasant and dangerous place. I remember when I was growing up, everything was better. Everything was better. I'm looking around now. It's all shit. Everything's shit. I go to the tube. That's what we call the subway in London. And I go into the tube. No one's paying for anything. Everybody's just jumping over the barriers. Everybody does what they want. There's no law. There's no order. And I'm there going, and I just find myself getting angry. I'm just getting angrier and angrier at these little pricks who do what they want all day, every day. Don't agree with it. So I really do sympathise with your mum because she's just there and she's seen the world change and she hasn't changed, seen it change for the better. This world used to be better. It used to be fairer. People used to care about things. So right now, when you get some grotty little oik in a tracksuit who obviously hasn't done a day's exercise in his life, he just sits there like a fat little jelly baby with his weird translucent skin and his hood covered over his face, even despite the fact it's July and the sun's beating down on him, and you look at his tracksuit and it's growing bacteria and mould. Didn't happen in my day. Well, it probably did, actually. It actually really did. But, things were better back then. And I think what your mum's saying is correct. I don't know what your mum said, but I'm sure she said this, and she's right. It was better. Everything was better in the 90s. It just was. It just was. We were better people and a better country. Music was better. Oh, Britpop. I'll be honest, I used to love Britpop. The Pulp, Oasis. Even though Oasis, they've been overrated now. But, they still, the first album, definitely, maybe, Blur. There's so many great bands. I've forgotten them. So you asked me for another one. It's those three, and that's all I can tell you about. Oh, Suede, Elastica. It was a better time. It was just a better time. England was doing well. It was cool Britannia. Cool Britannia. Britain was cool. You used to say to people, I'm British. People go, wow, you're British. That's so cool. I want to come to London. I want to experience London. London's going to be amazing. If I told someone I'm British now, they're just going to look at me like I'm some kind of inbred cunt. They just look at me and like, oh, right. Have you been stabbed? That's all anybody asks me now. Oh, you're from London? I go, yeah, I'm from London. They're like, oh, right, what's it like being stabbed? That's what we're famous for now. Getting our phone nicked, getting stabbed, crime, and Lily Phillips and Bonnie Blue. That's it. That's what we're famous for. And you're going, Francis, you're being hypocritical because you've had Lily on the show. And we have had Lily on the show. Jack, our producer, fell in love with her and proposed to her the moment she left. Went down on one knee and said the words, Lily, will you marry me? Look, all I'm saying is, it's just things were better before. And I think your mother is clinging on to a world that was better, that was fairer. We didn't have smartphones, all of this. Everywhere you go now, this is all that people do. They're just there like that, and I'm one of them. So I'm deeply hypocritical. Do you remember what it was like to be bored? No one's bored nowadays because you just go on the internet and literally everything is available to you. Everything. You are incapable of being bored. Do you remember, right, just being a kid and just like playing with an ant and there'd be an ant going around and you wouldn't like, I'm not like Jack, I'm not a psycho, I wouldn't like do anything, but you just send it on little adventures. Remember that? Remember playing with an ant? Remember you and your mates with a mirror and you'd be shining the lights on things? Imagine you did that now to a kid and go, look, this is what you can do with light. They'd look at you like you were a nonce. Get away from me, old man. I can go on my iPhone 28 and look at the hottest black lesbians having sex with each other. Why am I going to want to watch light being reflected in a mirror? But that's what we had back then. Well, you know what else we had? We had teen pregnancies. That's what we had. We had teen pregnancies. It was a better time. It was a better time. We had teen pregnancies. So you could go out, right? If you're in your 15, you could have sex with a girl. She'd be 14, maybe 15, and maybe the same age. Maybe if you're a top-level legend, she was even older. She could be 17, which means at that point she probably had 3 kids. And you can have another one. You could be a dad and by the time you left school. You know why? Because you're a real man. You're a real man. Can you see any of the kids now being like going out and being teen parents? No. They're all too busy going, oh God, anxiety. I can't talk to people. It makes me feel sad. No, my generation, we just ruined our lives. Not with medication, ADHD meds and therapy and cutting off our knob or taking hormones. None of that. We did it the good old-fashioned way. By getting some bird that we didn't love knocked up and ruining our life. And that's why there wasn't a population crisis as there is now. There wasn't a birth crisis because we had real men going out there doing it for God and country. That's what we had. And now the teen birth it's just ruined everything, mate. It's destroyed it all. Oh, I don't know. We used to be a great country, Jack. This country used to mean something. You just look at it like there's no passion. There's no passion. There's nothing. Everything's worse now. The football's worse. Movies are worse. Music's worse. Even crime's worse. You just look at the knife crime nowadays. You watch Goodfellas, Jack? Of course. Yeah, of course, because it was exciting crime. They were gangsters. They were dressed up in Armani suits, looking fly with fucking great hats, fedoras, hanging out with cigars, going to fancy restaurants, hanging out with Sinatra, eating great meals. Look at gangsters now. Yeah, you get me, bro. Like, you know what? It's like from down from family. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like Russian speeded up. Fam, cuz we. The music shit. The tracksuits. All of them are wearing tracksuits. There's nothing. There's nothing exciting about it. There's nothing you want to emulate. All of those old boys, they were dressed properly. They looked good. They looked sharp. They had businesses. They ran casinos. What do these little cunts do? They just ride around on their shitty bikes stabbing each other with their crap music. I mean, this was before my time, but the craze looked cool. They dressed well. They had films made after them. And they're great. We all enjoyed the films. They were there like looking dapper, shooting people in pubs. To give you something to aspire to. Can you imagine somebody making a film out of these little twats in East London for 20 years' time? So what I'm saying, mate, is your mum's right. Society's in the toilet. You know what? They probably are casing her. That's exactly what they are doing. They are probably casing the joint. I don't know. The food's better now. The Chinese is better. So she'll probably have a good Chinese and someone will break in and then that'll be it. Your mum's right, you're wrong, everything's gone to shit. Get the old girl a Chinese and get her to shut up. She's probably right, she's definitely right. Anyway, good luck. Right, let's talk about grooming. Not that kind, the proper kind. If you want to tidy things up downstairs without looking like you've lost a fight with a hedge trimmer, the new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra in the white hot edition is the tool for the job. It's got skin-safe technology, dual blades, and even a light, because shaving your crown jewels in the dark is a terrible idea. Trust me, I've done it. Ooh, not good. It's waterproof too, so I can sort myself out in the shower and pretend I've got my life together. Of course I have. Look at me. Plus, the white and gold design, very slick. Looks like it belongs in James Bond's toiletry bag. There's a reason we've been working with Manscaped for 3 years now. Because they pay us. Of course they do. They're reliable like that. No, because they're the best. The quality of their products and customer service standards are second to none. Go to manscaped.com and use code TRIGGER15 for 15% off your entire order. That's TRIGGER15 at manscaped.com. Trim like a gent, look like you meant it. Doesn't even rhyme. Dear Francis, I've lived in the same cul-de-sac outside Cardiff for 26 years, boyo. We've always taken our bins out together Mondays and Thursdays. A new couple moved in last month and they've started putting theirs out a day early. No one said anything, but the WhatsApp group is starting to turn. I don't want to be the first to confront them. Should I wait? You see, this is a sign that you've made it in life. This is how you know you've done it. This is how you know you've achieved your dreams. When the biggest thing and most important thing is bin day. That's how you know you've done it, my friend. You've achieved the middle class dream where you've got nothing to moan about apart from bin day. Apparently the WhatsApp group are starting to turn. What a bunch of middle class mental midgets, to quote Donald Trump. What is the matter with people? Just go up to them and go, mate, look, there's a bit of an issue here. You're putting your bins out early. The foxes are going to get it. It's summer. It's going to start to stink. Just don't do it. But nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to be in an uncomfortable situation. Nobody wants to risk anything anymore. We're just unwilling to risk something. That's the issue here. Where none of us are prepared to risk something. To actually put your balls on the line. And just say, all right, I'm going to do or say this thing. Look, someone's got to be the first to blink here, right? Because at the moment, on that WhatsApp group, it's just a load of people being mingy. And as Nelson Mandela said, be the change that you want to see in the world. And if that means the bins go out one day later, then have a word. It's the only thing you need to do. You need to take life by the horns. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not going to be a Lord of the Rings epic, this, but it's going to be a journey. And the journey is going to be you no longer being an absolute grade A minge and just going up to the person and just going, hey, you know this thing that you do? I'd rather you didn't do it. And most of the time you do it, they'll probably stab you because that's what London or Cardiff is like. I've been to Cardiff. It's a fucking shithole, mate. I mean, look, I'm sure there's wonderful parts of Cardiff, but the parts of Cardiff I went to were a cesspit. I actually opened for Jeff Norcott in Cardiff. To say it was an old crowd is putting it mildly. I remember I got a tweet going, hey Francis, really enjoyed your set. I was a bloke in the third row on the mobility scooter. That's Cardiff. I just think you've just got to confront them. You've just got to confront them. Don't even a confrontation. And go, hello Gareth, boyo. You're putting your bins out a bit early and it's not good for the street. Would you mind putting it out the day after? Is that okay? That's all you need to do. But my friend, if this is your biggest concern, if this has moved you to such an extent that you feel compelled to message in for me to try and say this to you, I mean, how have you got through life? How have you managed to actually overcome any problems? What have you done? Is this your biggest problem? Is this your biggest fear? Because if so, mate, I want your life. Your life sounds incredible. No, you shouldn't wait. Just go up to them, tell them what you think, get over that fear, say what you think, do it, and get on with it. You just got to do it. That's it. That's all you got to do. It's easy if you try. Genuinely. And then once you do that, then there'll be something else like you're not particularly comfortable with. And then you'll be like, oh, could you not do that? And then they won't do it. And then you can go through life and there'll be bigger and bigger things until eventually you'll lose all your friends. Because that's how it works. Anywho, dear Francis, I found out my sister's new fiancé made a viral YouTube video titled How to Emotionally Control Women. She says he's changed and it's just content. Am I allowed to object at the wedding? Ooh. Right, this is interesting. How to emotionally control women. Right, so he made a video called How to, and it went viral. And she said he's changed. Now, on the one hand, this is the thing that we've got to be honest with. On the one hand, we know people do and have the capacity for change, and we should allow people that opportunity to grow and become better human beings and productive members of society. On the one hand. On the other hand, women, when it comes to men, are very, very stupid. And they'll say things like, he's changed, he's really changed, you know. And, you know, I love him. And I realised, like, he stabbed 2 people yesterday, but he was having a bad day. And this is what happens when he hasn't had his food or his meals and he gets a low glucose. So you've got these 2. And then, my friend, we have you. And the interesting thing about you is that you want to object to it at the wedding. So you are not entirely innocent in this particular equation either. So we've got the 2 poles here, and they both have merit. And then we've got you who wants to object to it at the wedding. Why do you want to object to it at the wedding? What do you possibly hope to achieve by doing this, apart from drawing unnecessary attention to yourself, derailing the entire day, and on top of that, destroying a relationship? Like, maybe he has changed, and maybe she's right, and you're going to scupper a good relationship with a man who's grown up, realised he was a bit of a knob when he was younger, as we all are, and you're going to scupper that. So on the one hand over here. On the other hand, let's say you are right, and let's say he hasn't changed, and let's say he's a massive manipulative minge. How will objecting to it at the wedding help anything? It's not going to help anything. All you're going to do is make a spectacle out of what is meant to be the happiest day of her life. You are just going to derail the event. She's going to resent you forever. Forever. She's going to hate you. And understandably so, let's be honest. And you're going to make yourself the center of attention. That doesn't sound to me like somebody who is actually interested in other people's best interests. Rather, it's all about drawing attention to yourself. My advice to you is step back. Don't do the wedding idea. That is an objectively awful idea. Support your cousin, I think it is. And just let them do what they want to do. I presume it's a woman. Let her do what she wants. She's an adult. She's free to make up her own mind and pursue the choices that she wants. And you may not like it. And that's your right. But what you don't have the right to do is to ruin someone's wedding because you think that this person she's marrying, however legitimate, is a bad person. You shouldn't do that. That is a terrible thing to do to another person. You can talk about this person behind their back and you can say how concerned you are about her. They've got to work it out for themselves that this ain't the person for them. And it's going to take as long as it takes. Maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe a year. Maybe she's never going to come to that realization. Maybe she's going to be in denial all her life. But you know what? That is her choice. Ain't your choice. It ain't your life. You make your choices. She makes hers. And also, you don't know what's going on in the relationship. Maybe he has changed. Maybe he's a better person now. Maybe he's different. Maybe he looks back at his earlier life at these things and he cringes, like a lot of us do, about the things that we say and do when we are younger. But how is this going to help? It is not going to help. It's a deeply antagonistic gesture which will only bring pain and misery to everyone concerned. It is the literal worst thing that you can do, apart from getting your cock out and waving it about, or just getting your minge out in the church and then pointing at the priest and saying he's a nonce if you're going for a church wedding. Or, I mean, just call anyone, call the registrar nonce. Same thing achieved, really. No, you can't do any of that. Relationships are very, very, very hard. They're very difficult. You know, and we've all had experience of going out with the wrong person, being in a relationship which isn't fulfilling, doesn't nourish you, it doesn't give you what you need, what you desire, what you crave. Can even be damaging for you. Can even be toxic, even though I hate that word toxic. But you do not have the right to derail other people's relationships, no matter how legitimate your criticisms are of them. So, you obviously care for your cousin very deeply. They're going down this path and it makes you feel uncomfortable. And I get that. And you are protective of them and you clearly don't like the fiancé. But you are not the one marrying them. It is not your choice. Accept that you cannot change this situation. Only they have the power to change it. And just support them as best you can. And if it does go wrong, and if they do divorce, go, told you so. No, don't do that. Just be there for them when it goes wrong. Just be a good friend. And doing this is not being a good friend. It's being a terrible friend. Good luck. Dear Francis, my husband has suddenly got very into Wim Hof breathing and refuses to let us put the heating on, even though the kids are wearing gloves indoors. He says discomfort is good for the soul. Is this a midlife crisis or a cult? I used to laugh at people with going through a midlife crisis. I was like, oh, how pathetic. How sad. You're having a midlife crisis. Oh, poor you. Do you know what? I'm 43. I get it. All of a sudden, you wake up and you go, oh, I'm over halfway through now. There's a chance I could die pretty soon. You start doing all of these, ridiculous things because you want to extend your life, like cold plunges or Wim Hof. No. Maybe there is something in Wim Hof. I don't know. I'm not, despite what it looks like, I am not an expert in the fitness. So I don't know. I don't know. But the only thing I will say is this. If he's affecting other people in the house to the point where they have to wear gloves and he's the only person benefiting and every single other person is having their experience of life negatively affected because of something like this, then he's being unreasonable. And he's letting his midlife crisis, which is what I think this is, or his fear of mortality, whatever you want to call it, get and contaminate his relationship with his children and with you, then you need to step in and you need to say, it's gone a bit far now. And is it worth it of extending your life by a few years if you're essentially living in a glorified igloo? And I'm going to also be honest, because I think igloos are actually quite warm inside, whereas this sounds fucking freezing. You've got to confront him. You've got to say to him, my darling, I'm going to get you some Viagra. We're going to maybe put you on the antidepressants and we're going to make sure that you go for a few walks. You're going to be all right. You're going to need to cut this stuff out. Because it doesn't matter. You can do all of this stuff. But the reality is you're going to die one day. And the sooner you understand that your time is finite and that you are mortal and that every moment that you have is precious, the better for all concerned. And the better your life will be because you won't waste your time because you'll understand that it's precious. You'll understand that no day is guaranteed. And it doesn't matter how many Wim Hofs you do or how many like that weirdo injects his kid's blood into his balls. Maybe not into his balls, but he injects his kid's blood into him. Who wants to be immortal? Life's great, but at some point you're like, you know what? I've had a good innings here. It's been fun. But I think, it's time to go. And there's a dignity to that. People who want to live forever, it's like that kid who left school and then comes back to hang around. You're like, Terry, mate, you're 29 years old. It's time to move on. There's nothing more tragic, I think, than people who can't accept their age or their mortality. Whether it's male or whether it's female. Like when you see a 6-year-old woman with a miniskirt up her arse, you're like, Jesus, give us a flash. No. You're just like, oh, God. Terrible. You need to sit him down and you need to be like, darling, we love you dearly, but this is mental. And embracing discomfort or whatever you call it, it's turning the kids against you, my love. Stop it. And get him some Viagra. Have sex with him and get him to chill out. All right, guys, this has been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to give it a like, share it, tell everybody around it, put a comment underneath. Let's start the conversation. I don't know what about mortality, everything being better when I was young. And we'll see you next week with another incredible episode. Make sure to subscribe as well. Take care. God bless. Arrivederci. Goodbye.